Welcome to Story Mix, where we bring you the most spine-chilling and thrilling tales from the world of horror and the supernatural. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most terrifying and legendary stories ever told, The Exorcist. Get ready for a chilling journey into the darkest corners of possession and faith. But before we begin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Story Mix, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our latest creepy content. Now, let's unravel the horrifying tale of The Exorcist. Our story begins in the early 1970s with a seemingly ordinary family living in Washington, D.C. The McNeil family, consisting of 12-year-old Regan, her mother Chris, and their housekeeper, were about to be thrust into a nightmare beyond their wildest imagination. What began as a typical life soon spiraled into a harrowing ordeal that would test their faith, courage, and sanity. Chris McNeil was an actress working on a film, juggling her career and her responsibilities as a mother. Regan, her bright and vibrant daughter, had recently begun showing signs of unusual behavior. At first, it seemed like nothing more than the growing pains of adolescence, but as the days went by, Regan's condition grew increasingly alarming. It all started with minor symptoms. Regan would complain about feeling strange, and her behavior became erratic. But soon, the symptoms took a darker turn. Regan began experiencing violent fits. Her personality shifted dramatically, and she started displaying an unnatural strength. Her mother, Chris, noticed disturbing changes in her daughter's voice and began to suspect that something was seriously wrong. Regan's condition continued to deteriorate. She developed a disturbing aversion to religious symbols and showed signs of a severe and inexplicable change in her physical state. Objects in the house seemed to move on their own. Furniture would slide across the room, and doors would slam shut. Chris was terrified and decided to seek help from medical professionals. Chris took Regan to a series of doctors and specialists, hoping to find a medical explanation for her daughter's bizarre symptoms. Despite numerous tests and examinations, the doctors could find no physical or psychological explanation for Regan's condition. They were baffled, and their inability to diagnose or treat Regan only deepened Chris's fear. In desperation, Chris reached out to Father Damien Karras, a Jesuit priest who was also a trained psychologist. Father Karras was struggling with his own crisis of faith and was initially skeptical about the possibility of demonic possession. However, as he witnessed Regan's condition firsthand, he began to question his own beliefs. Father Karras observed several disturbing phenomena that pointed towards something supernatural. Regan's voice changed into a deep, guttural tone, speaking in languages she had never learned. She exhibited extreme aversion to sacred objects and began displaying abnormal physical strength. These signs convinced Father Karras that Regan's condition was not of this world. Father Karras knew that an exorcism was a last resort and not something to be taken lightly. He sought permission from the church to perform the ritual, and after careful consideration, the Vatican granted approval. An experienced exorcist, Father Marin, was dispatched to assist Father Karras. The stage was set for one of the most harrowing exorcisms in history. The exorcism was a grueling and intense process. Father Marin and Father Karras arrived at the McNeil home armed with holy water, crucifixes, and sacred texts. The atmosphere in the room was oppressive and foreboding. Regan's behavior became increasingly violent, and she seemed to be a vessel for a malevolent entity determined to resist their efforts. As the exorcism progressed, the priest faced an onslaught of supernatural phenomena. The room grew icy cold, and an overpowering stench filled the air. Regan's body contorted in unnatural ways, and her eyes became glowing, sinister pools of darkness. The priests recited prayers and performed rituals to expel the demon, but their efforts were met with fierce resistance. In a heart-wrenching climax, Father Marin, already weakened by his age and illness, became gravely ill. Father Karras, driven by desperation and compassion, confronted the demon directly. In a final act of self-sacrifice, he allowed the demon to possess him, hoping that this would free Regan from its grasp. The demon took the bait, and Father Karras's body was soon overtaken by the malevolent force. Father Karras fought valiantly against the demon within him, and in a dramatic and tragic moment, he managed to force the entity out of Regan's body. The demon, now trapped in Father Karras's weakened form, was ultimately expelled. However, Father Karras's sacrifice came at a great personal cost. He died shortly after, having given his life to save the young girl. Regan survived the ordeal but was left physically and emotionally scarred by the experience. Chris McNeil, deeply shaken by the events, moved away from the house to escape the memories of the horror they had endured. Father Marin passed away shortly after the exorcism, and Father Karras was remembered as a hero who made the ultimate sacrifice. The story of The Exorcist became a cultural phenomenon, captivating audiences with its chilling portrayal of demonic possession. William Peter Blatty's novel, published in 1971, brought the harrowing tale to the public's attention. The 1973 film adaptation, directed by William Friedkin, became one of the most influential and terrifying horror films of all time, leaving a lasting impact on the genre. Thank you for joining us on this terrifying journey through The Exorcist. If you enjoyed this in-depth exploration of one of horror's most chilling tales, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Story Mix, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest spooky content. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain? Until next time, stay curious and stay spooky.